What's going on, guys? Back at it again with another episode of True Capacity Talks. And today I have Anna with me, Anna Maria. We're going to go by Anna here. And she's got a super cool last name. If you can find it, you're better than I am. If you can say it, you're better than I am. But we're going to dive into all things competing, coaching, online, in person, supplementation, lifestyle, just a ton of things. I kind of wanted to unpack and maybe start back with first and foremost. I know that you've competed in multiple shows. I know that you're prepping for a show right now and you are on track to be on stage in what, like 40 days, 45?
Like less. It's like 30 now. It's 4.5 weeks.
Ew.
30, 34, 32. I don't even know.
4.5 weeks
Coming
away.
up.
So
hmm
you're basically at the end, right, of a long prep. Was it been 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 12 months? How long is prep?
So I started prepping in May. So
Okay.
yeah, we're coming up on 6 months.
Heck yeah. So you're very close to hopping on stage, kind of tying everything out, right? Making sure your posing is on point, getting your suits, getting
Hardest
everything
part.
that you need to crush it on stage. But I kind of want to walk back, not only you as a competitor, but also you as fitness. Like, how the hell did you get into the industry in general, right? Not just competing. Like, how did you get
hmm
into doing health and wellness and lifting weights and loving
Yeah.
it? And like, how did you get here first?
Yeah. So it all started honestly with my brother. So my brother has been like competing forever. Like his first show, I don't even know, maybe like 2010, something like that. So like I would go to his shows and I would like see the girls and I'd be like, oh, that looks cool. Like I want to do that. But I could like never follow a diet for like that many days in a row. Like no way. I at this point I like didn't work out. Like I just whatever. And then I was working at Hooters. I worked at Hooters in college and there was a calendar tryout. And my manager was like, Anna, you should try out for the calendar. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. What the heck? Yeah, I'm not a model. Like, I have red hair. I don't have big boobs. I didn't have my boobs yet at that point. I was like, I'm not doing that. And then I ended up doing it. Like, he had convinced me. So I, you try out, and then if they want you to shoot, they call you. So they called me. They were like, we want you to shoot. And I was like, I have to get in shape for this. Oh no. So I started like I got like my fitness pal and like I like put macros in and I was like tracking my food and working out. Didn't really know what I was doing. I would just like I'd go on like bodybuilding.com and like look at like the workouts like the girls would put up and I would do those at the gym. And my body changed like so fast. And I was like, this is awesome. Like I feel so good. I look so good. So that was kind of like what got me started, like just seeing like what was possible, just like having like a goal and just like working towards like a physique and just like I'm gonna do cardio like 5 days and then doing the 5 days, like you just feel like so productive and good. So I was doing that and then I was in the calendar, which was like, oh, the calendar. I was like the first calendar girl at like my store. But then I was like, you know what? I want to do a show. Like I look like these girls. I just have to like get a little skinnier. So I prepped myself for my first show in 2018. I did the Mid Illinois. Had no idea like what I was doing. I didn't practice walking in heels. It was the night before the show, and I was like, I haven't practiced with my heels. Oh no! Like it was just like so like it was just like I was like throwing my arms all over the place. It was just crazy. And then after that, I stopped competing that year. But then in 2019 was when I got into it. So I actually got a coach. So I did two regional shows in 2019. I did Illinois State, and then I did the Grand Prix, which I took the whole show. So at the Grand Prix, I actually got sponsored. Like I was working with Blackstone Labs at the time, and like they sponsored me to go to nationals. So I went to nationals and I ended up getting fourth place at nationals. It was like, what the heck? Like I was just like a noob. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even really know what like a pro card was. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go try to get my pro card. Like I didn't know like anything about anything. I was just like I was so new to it. But so at that point, like I was kind of like done. Like I was like, oh well, I didn't get it, like whatever. But like I was like kind of pushed to like keep competing. So I competed again in November and I kind of just like I wanted to do it, but it was more of like I'm doing this because I have this opportunity, not because I'm doing this because I want I want this for myself. Like I wanted it, but
Yeah.
with prep, if you don't love the process, your life sucks, you know? Like you gotta love it. You have to love the grind, the grit. Like it's hard. And it was kind of just like I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So after that, I was just burnt out. I was like, I don't like this. I miss having a life. Like, I hate doing all this cardio. Like, I don't want to do this diet anymore. Like, if I want to go out to eat, I'm going to go out to eat. I don't want to weigh everything. And I was just over it. I was like anti-competing for like basically 4 years. Like, here
Whoa.
I am now. I'm like back at it. Like, I'm like, yeah, I love it again.
Heck yeah. Well, let me wind back because that's a lot of information. The two shows to then getting fourth in class H, right? At
Mhm.
the comp that you're talking about, right? Which tells me that that you're taller than you look on Instagram, right?
I'm
That's kind of
yeah,
crazy.
I'm 5'8". I'm very
That's
tall. Yes.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Cool, but crazy. Let's walk back, right? Back to Hooters. First and foremost, why Hooters, not a regular bar? Why serving alcohol and food as opposed to being somewhere else in the service industry?
Um, Honestly, they were building the Hooters like
Mhm.
right by my parents' house, which was obviously where I lived before
Mhm.
college. And I I don't even know. I just saw that they were building. I'm like, oh, new restaurants. Like, my phone keeps falling out. I'm like, new restaurants are like so
Mhm.
busy. Like, I'll make a lot of money. Um, so I literally, it was just like, it was so random. Like, I saw that they were building it, and they had like a trailer, and I was like, I was actually going to Sam's Club, and I was like, I'm just gonna go apply, and I just like went in and I applied, and then I started working there, and I worked there for like 8 years. But I'm very much like I like to be efficient with my time. Like I'm like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna go to work, like I want to make X amount of money. Like, like I've like there's so much like opportunity to make money like when you're serving and bartending, like if you
Mhm.
just like hustle. So like I would go in there and I would make like 300 bucks, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is awesome. Like I was working at like the Dollar Tree, like my paycheck would be like 400 for like the entire week, like for like 4 days, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is awesome. Like I'm gonna work here, you know? Like it was cool because it was really flexible. It was like we had this app where you could like basically pick when you wanted to work,
Mhm.
and it was just like fun. I felt like I could like be myself, like just like goofy and like run
Mhm.
around and like talk to people. Like I didn't have to like be serious, like not allowed to swear, or like be like, you know, running around like an idiot, like making fun of people. Like it was just like there was like no rules, you know. So I loved it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I worked there for like 8 years. But that's kind of why I'm just like, okay, if I'm gonna go somewhere and spend this many hours there, I want to make this much money. So that was kind of
Yeah.
like my
No, that's facts. So when they were building it, were you 18 at the point? I mean, were you like when did you start
yeah.
working at Hooters?
I was 18. Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
was because
Go ahead.
I worked at Chipotle in college.
I love
And then
Chipotle.
oh my God, I
I
love
love
Chipotle
Chipotle.
too.
It's one of
It
my
was
favorite
funny
places.
because I would go there like
Mhm.
every day, and I would get a chicken bowl. And at that time, like a chicken bowl was like 6.81. Now I think it's like $9 or something. But
Dude,
I would it's so expensive now. The queso is like $2. I'm like, my burrito's like $14. Like God. But so I would go there like every day, and
mhm.
I would spend 6.81. And you know, I was working at a jump and fun. I had so
What is
many
that like
jobs, and I
like an in-house like jumpy bounce house or something
yeah,
or a
like the
trampoline
tubes and
place
the tubes, the ball pits. There was like an arcade.
for
That was
adults
my
or for kids?
for kids.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, is he serious? No, but I worked there, and like so I had my money from PGN, which is where I
Mhm.
worked. So I would spend like 6.81, like, and that was a lot of money, you know, like back then, like that was a lot every day. So one of my friends started working there, and she was like, why don't you just come work here? You get free food. And I'm like, I don't want to work there and wear that stupid hat. Like, what the heck? And then I did. I worked there for like a year, but I got free food. It
Okay.
was awesome.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, it's so
So
funny.
you were
Good
working at
time.
the jump house, right? And then you went to Chipotle and then you decided, hey, the Hooters is getting built, so I'm gonna jump over here. Is that kind of how that went?
Yes. Yeah. So it was PGN Chipotle. And then I was a seasonal employee at the Dollar Tree. And then I was like, okay, this sucks. I worked with like old ladies. I was bored. I couldn't swear. Like
Mm,
I had to wake up super early. So then I started working at Hooters. And then I was actually working at both. And I was like, okay, well, this is kind of a waste of my time
Mhm.
working at the Dollar Tree. I'm like stocking like the Dollar Tree. Like it was like Christmas time. So everyone would buy like 50 rolls of wrapping paper. And I would just be like, why am I doing this? So I ended up
Goodness.
leaving the Dollar Tree. And yeah, I worked at Hooters for 8 years until I moved to Florida. I actually worked at Hooters.
Damn. So you worked at Hooters from 18 to 26, roughly?
20, yeah, yep.
Holy shit. How long
Hmm.
when you were at Hooters was it until your manager was pushing you to try to shoot for the
Oh,
calendar?
it was like immediately.
Oh wow.
Like that store just opened and
Hmm.
like they were like, you should try out. It was like within like a month of them opening.
Oh shit. And
But
and
yeah.
also, by the way, you can cuss as much as you want. You can say whatever you want. This is
Okay.
a PC podcast. Say whatever you want. Any
I always
expletives, you're
I
all
always
good.
worry about the swearing. I'm like, oh, I
Nah,
don't want
you
to
can
swear.
say fuck shit, bitch, anything. You can say whatever you want. Like
Okay, good to
it's
know.
all good. So you get into Hooters, right? You're like, oh shit, like let's go apply over here. You get the job, you then get pushed to get shot on the calendar. Now, at that time, were you already doing any kind of fitness? Were you in the gym, even if you didn't know what you're doing? Were you lifting weights or
I
running or Pilates or anything?
I would I would go to the gym and I would do like the treadmill. Like I would like
Mm-hmm.
walk on the treadmill like on an incline and
Mm-hmm.
I would squat. I would just like do squats and like that was all I would do when I went, which I only went like sometimes. But that was when I like was like, okay, like I'm gonna learn how to like use these weights, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
was
and
kind
did
of
you
like where it started.
you said you said a couple times you were tall and lanky, right? Or and it wasn't just here, it was like on some of the other stuff that I saw online about you talking about kind of your journey. Did you grow up like that? Were you like always the skinny girl coming up through
Uh
middle school and high school?
yeah, well, actually I probably gained weight like in like high school
Mm-hmm.
where I wasn't like, but I've always like I have really bony shoulders. You could
Yeah,
like
your
see they're
shoulder your
like,
shoulders are crazy, like
ah, thank you.
crazy.
No, but I was always like super self-conscious because I like, I was like really white and like I
Mm-hmm.
have like these like I'm really skinny. Like I have skinny wrists and
Mm-hmm.
like skinny long arms.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always like self-conscious because I was like so pale and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and had red hair and like no one had red hair. I was like the only one and like but yeah, I've kind of always been like that like awkward girl like in the corner like mm.
Do you think you're an awkward girl?
Oh yeah, kind of.
So, I mean, were you awkward at Hooters too? Like that kind of bring you out of your
No.
shell, or
Yeah, I feel like that brought me out of my shell for sure working there.
and I'm curious because I've known a few people that have worked for Hooters, not long, no, I mean not 8 years,
Yeah,
maybe a
so
year or two,
long.
and have
Hmm.
gone different directions. I mean, what role do you think Hooters played on like working there and being in a position where I don't know how often you're objectified. I don't know how often men are saying wild shit. I don't know what any of that looks like. I do
Yeah.
know from being a bartender myself for about a decade, all told, in and out of the
Okay.
scene. When I was in college and then when I moved to Atlanta for a bit and for weddings and other stuff. But we worked at like a high volume, like it was a big frat bar, right? When I was in college. And I know even me, was objectified. I was objectified to the
Oh
fucking
yeah.
moon, and having to stop sometimes people from saying and doing reckless shit with our female staff. But I'm interested, and I've never had a conversation with anyone about this that has worked there,
Hmm.
especially for that long. How does that differ from you at Hooters? Because Hooters legitimately, like the reason a
Yeah.
lot of people go there is to stare at boobs, right? And get served by women
Yeah.
that are smoking hot.
Just stare at the girls. Yeah. So believe it or not, it really wasn't that bad at Hooters. Like of course you'd have like the weird guys, but
Kind of like everywhere.
most of
Yeah.
yeah, like most of the people that came in there, it was like, believe it or not, a lot of families. Like I had like a bunch of like families that would come see me like all the time, like bring their kids and stuff. Like we have like a kids menu, like
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Um, but it was more of like a family atmosphere for sure, like when you were doing the tables. Um, and then I would bartend. So when you bartend was when you get like the guys that are like, but for the most part, like once you can like look past that it's just like these guys that are just there to stare at you,
Mm-hmm.
like and you just like talk to them like humans because you get to know them. They come in like all the time. Like it's all regulars there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I actually like grew like pretty good relationships with like a lot of like I'm like, okay, let me just look past the fact that you hate your wife and you always talk about it and like talk to you as a human. And like, it's kind of cool to like just kind of like see different like just like perspectives and stuff like that. Um, but I don't know. I made a lot of friends like working there and just like it's like I liked it because it was like I would never talk to these people otherwise.
Hmm.
Like I would never have a conversation with any of these people if I didn't work there. And I like just like talking to people and like hearing like people's stories and just like how they like view things and talk about feelings and stuff that's happened to them in the past. And that's like really what it was. Like, cause I was a morning bartender at Hooters. So I like had a bunch of regulars in the mornings. And we would just like talk the whole time. And I would like make great money because like they would give me their money, which was
Hmm.
obviously why I was there. But so it was like, but I did enjoy it. But you definitely do get some guys that are like a lot of guys got kicked out and make comments and stuff, but it kind of comes with the territory. Like working
Hmm.
somewhere like that, you have to like have thick skin. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? You're wearing little shorts and your boobs are pushed up. Like, you think you're not gonna get objectified? Like, you're asking for it, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel
Uh,
like Hooters was more of like a people would go there to like actually talk to you, you know? And it wasn't really like I don't know. The guys weren't like that creepy at Hooters. Like I worked at Twin Peaks too, and the guys at Twin Peaks were creepy. Okay, it was like way different.
yeah. That's a time that I don't want to have, but I'm glad that somebody's doing it. Those are the same guys that would troll at the end of the night in Atlanta or Athens or wherever, and be trying to get in the bar at 3 a.m. Right when everyone's cleaning. You're like, you gotta go. You can't be here. You can't be here.
Yeah.
So you get on the calendar, right? You get on the calendar, you start training a little bit, right? You want to do this tryout, want to
Mhm.
do well. You get shot, you get put on the calendar. Um, when you got selected to be on the calendar, I mean, initial thoughts, what were they? Knee jerk.
I was just like, really? Really? I don't know. I was just like, what the heck? Like that's cool, you know? And then I was like still young too, so
Mhm.
I didn't really want to tell anyone because it was like, I was like in college, like working at Hooters. Like I didn't even talk about it to like anyone at school. Like,
Mhm.
um, so it was kind of like a secret.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Like it was fun, and it definitely like took me like out of like my shell. Like I was like in a bikini, and then like I'm like, well, how do I stand? I remember like he was like had his camera, and I just like smiled. He's like, this isn't your yearbook picture, Anna. And I was like, okay, so what face do I make? And then like I like made like this like face, and one of my friends goes, you look like you smelt something bad. I was like, I don't know how to make a sexy face.
Yeah, you're supposed to be
I'm
like
like,
sultry or whatever, and you look like
yeah.
you look like
I'm
you don't want to be
trying
here.
to like, be sexy. I don't know. I'm just like soft smiling. Not just like it comes natural to some
Mhm.
people, and they like it was like not me, but obviously like I got a little better at it.
Yeah. Okay. So you hit that photo shoot, right? Calendar comes out. You don't really want to tell a ton of people about it. I mean, at that point, did you end up pursuing getting better at being photographed, like better at modeling? Did you pursue kicking it up in the gym? Like, how long was it until those things changed?
Well, after that, I just kind of like realized like how like you could just change your body and like
Mm-hmm.
basically like if you want to look a certain way, like you can. And I just thought
Mm-hmm.
that was so cool. So that was actually when I got certified to be a personal trainer. And I was like, I want to be a trainer. Like, I love
Mm-hmm.
this, you know. So I actually did do that in person, in between, like during this was after college actually,
Mm-hmm.
because I got my degree in health administration.
Okay.
Got a job out of college. It was horrible. I sat at a desk and like I worked for like this company called Aetna and it was awful. I worked there for like 4 weeks. I
Mm.
got my checks and I was like, this is pathetic. This is miserable. I hate this. But I did it because like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college and get a
Mm.
job, you know? I'm like, all right, got my job. And it was like horrible.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, I want to be a personal trainer. So then I like became a personal trainer and it was just like horrible to
Yeah.
like just like my mindset with money was just like if I'm gonna put time in, like I want this much money. And like, you know, like with training, you only get paid like if your client comes to their session. And like you only get paid per session. So you got like these gaps in your day. And like, I'm like, what an unproductive way to spend my time. Like I can go make $300 if I want to. And I'm here making like, I think I was making like $28 a session, like before tax. So I was getting like what, like 20 if they came, if they showed up. Like, you know, so I was just like, this is horrible. So that didn't last either. Then I ended up going back to Hooters again. But yeah.
And so timeline wise, when you got certified, I mean, what year is that? Like your first show was in
What?
2018. You were at Hooters for about 8 years. About how
It
long into
was
Hooters?
it was 2018 actually. It was the end of 2018 when I started training.
So got certified, left Hooters for a bit to go train because like
I Yeah, I just did Hooters on Sundays and I would train like all the other days. But I was working so much. Like it was
$28 a session. Are you out of your mind? Are you serious? $28?
that's how much I would get. They charged
Oh
more.
my goodness.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
disgusting.
like, and it's like not even like per hour. Like I'm there from like 11 to 7. Like I get like 8 hours. It's like only when your clients are there if they come. And it was just like I remember like I got my paycheck, like my first paycheck, and like my roster filled up pretty quick. And you know, I liked it. It was fun. But I got my check and I'm like, I think it was like 2 weeks, my check was like barely 1,000, like maybe like 1,100. And I was like, no, no, no,
Hard
I'm not doing
pass.
this. Yeah, I'm just like, you know, and I feel like I don't know, like working at Hooters kind of like messed with my like money mindset. You know, I'm like, okay, well, if I could make this doing that, why would I do this and make less? Not that I necessarily wanted to keep working there,
Mhm.
but you know, I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to like, you know, buy a place and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So it just made more sense, like pay off my school that I
Mhm.
went to school to get like this stupid job that also paid me nothing. Like I had to like pay off my school, like pay for my books and like, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It sounds like Hooters maybe gave you some golden handcuffs. It's like it gave you what you
yeah.
wanted, but then it required you to stay there to make the same amount of money to keep the same living.
Yeah, I was very spoiled working at Hooters, that's for sure.
Damn. So 2018, you train and you jump to Sundays for basically like 6 months, 3 months, a year.
Yeah, it was like 4 months, like 3.5, 4 months.
Okay. And
And then
so at
I
this
was like,
time,
nah.
are you so I mean you had that first show in 2018, right? Are you just training yourself at this point? Do you have a
Yeah.
coach? Or are you working with
So
someone at any point here?
I started working with a coach that year. I want to
Mhm.
say it was like November or December. I got a coach. And then I competed in April, April or
Okay.
May.
Okay. So you competed then, and at this point had you decided, so you're at Hooters, you were on the calendar, you start training, you had started training other clients and was training yourself, then you're like, hey, I'm gonna take this seriously, I'm gonna get a coach. Had you already gone under the knife to get surgery before this point?
Yeah. Yeah. I got my boobs in 2018, like after my first
Towards
show, like
oh, okay.
right after my first show, I got
Mhm.
them.
Okay,
Um,
so hit a show
yeah.
and then just decided, was it more of like a competition impetus, or did you just say, hey, I want
No,
these? Or
I just like since I was little, I just always like wanted boobs. So I was like,
hmm
I'm gonna do it. Like I saved enough money. I'm like, I'm
hmm
gonna do it. I want my boobs. And that was another thing. Like I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. Like obviously I like told my mom and like my
hmm
dad because like I lived there. But I was just like something that I wanted to do for myself. And yeah,
Yeah. How do you feel about that decision?
I'm happy with it. I love my boobs. So
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people that make decisions to, whether it be filler or plastic or what have you, and do it
Mhm.
maybe for the wrong reasons, like doing it for other people.
Mhm.
And so I think it's cool to
Yeah.
hear that you made a decision that you wanted to do it. You did it for you,
Yeah.
and you still sit here
Yeah.
2023 and you're like, I would do it again.
Yeah, I like saved up for them and everything. I'm like, I want to do it, you know. I'm like, okay, like my mindset was like, okay, I work so hard on my body, you know, like to get my legs bigger and like my butt bigger and my shoulders bigger, like my back bigger. Like my back used to be like completely straight. Now my back is like, you know, I'm like,
Now you're
I
flying
work
with
so
wings.
hard. Yeah, I have wings. Like I work so hard for my body, and like there's this part of my body that like I want to look a certain way. Like I can't work out and get boobs.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm just gonna do it, you know? Like I don't care what anyone says, like I'm just gonna do it. And of course it came with like a lot of judgment, like, oh, you just want attention and you're doing it just for attention, like Hooters, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's not why I'm doing it. Like it's not anybody's business, like why I'm
Mhm.
doing. It's not really anybody's place to say anything about it, but obviously people are gonna like say whatever. But yeah,
100%.
I definitely like always wanted to, and I did, and I was like, yeah, that's it.
Well, I mean, you got to do. Yeah, I mean, we're in this meat sack, right? We're in this
Mhm.
plane one time, so far as I can figure out. So why not do the things that you want to do that they're going to set you up for where you want to be? I am curious.
Mhm.
So on the back of that surgery, how did that interrupt your training?
I mean, at that point, I wasn't like that serious.
Mhm.
Like I would go to the gym. Like I wasn't like really on a program. I would just like go to the gym. I mean, it didn't. It was crazy because I got him done on a Friday. I remember it was Friday the 13th that I got him done, and I was actually back to work at Hooters like the next Wednesday. Like the recovery was not bad at all. Like I was fine. Like it. The first few days, like I couldn't like sit up on my own, but like
Mhm.
yeah, by Wednesday, I was like back to work, like serving, like I was fine. So
Wow.
yeah, it was really fast. Like it was really fast recovery. Like it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't the only thing that was like didn't hurt. It was just like stretched out. Because I
Mhm.
was like I had like no boobs before, and then I got boobs, so it was like just like tight. So
Yeah.
once like it wasn't like it hurt though. It was just like tight. I don't know. It
Mhm.
wasn't bad though. Honestly, like people that are like scared, I'm like, don't be scared. It's not bad.
Yeah. What if you had to just ballpark your body fat percentage before you got them, like what was that roughly?
Nah, probably like 30. Yeah, I wasn't that lean at that point. I gotta like find pictures from my first show. It's so funny. It's so cute. I didn't know. I just wanted to do a show.
Yeah, I heard you say in another interview that your shoulders, your hamstrings, and your glutes were kind of weaknesses at some point, right?
hmm
Can you talk to me about the transition from them being weaknesses to them being like major strengths? I mean, you literally can knock someone over with those fucking shoulders right there.
I feel like I really just like learned how to like activate my muscles properly. Like I'm very quad dominant, and
Same.
I'm very back dominant. So with my glutes and
Mhm.
my hamstrings, like I'd be doing like hamstring curls with like using like my like calves, like I don't even like I just didn't
Mhm.
understand like how to activate the muscles. Like I didn't really know how to warm up or like just train properly in general. Um but yeah, so I'm working with my new coach now. His name's James Ayat. He's like the bikini like guy.
He's got
You
a
look
hell
at
of a
his
pedigree. He's got a hell of a pedigree.
if you look at his page, everyone just looks like perfect. So I knew if I ever competed, like I was gonna like hire him. But
Mhm.
he when you sign up with him, he sends you his ebook. He has like a glute building ebook. And it explains just like all the muscles and just everything. So this prep, I've been doing his workouts.
Mhm.
Like amplify because I have a home gym, so I can't do some things here. But you know, for the most part, I've been
Mhm.
following like his like guidelines and just really learning how to like activate my muscles. And it's just been crazy. Like people think like you got to do a lot of weight, and it's like no, just like control it. Like I always say, like on the way down, like pump the brakes. Like you're doing a shoulder press, like come down and like keep it activated. And that's what's going to make you grow. Like that slow negative, like is really like the most important thing because you'll see everyone like swinging weights. I'm like, what
Mhm.
are you don't do? What are you doing? You're just like wasting your time. So I train like with intention now. Like
Mhm.
it's really different than how I used to train. But then yeah, for my shoulders, so I had a coach in the past that had told me that my front delts were too big. So to stop doing shoulder presses.
Mhm.
So at this point, I didn't know that like
Mhm.
that was like dumb. I was like, oh, well, I have to listen. You know, I want to be the best. So he told me to
Mhm.
do that. So I stopped pressing for like an entire year and my shoulders got so small. But now I've been pressing again and yeah. So that's kind of like what
Yeah.
happened with my shoulders.
Yeah. I
Yeah, he
think,
was like, your front delts are too big. Like you need to like match your rears and laterals. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Because this is
Or you need to grow the other ones. Like maybe not, maybe not just like
yeah,
stop doing front delts in
yeah. And
general.
then another thing too, he told me if I press, I have to do like an incline press. So what I would do with incline press, I would use my chest and not my shoulders.
Mhm.
So my shoulders just like didn't progress for like basically like a year,
Your shoulders
maybe a
basically
little
just,
bit less.
they just flattened out and everything else got bigger.
Yeah, I just looked really skinny, like really skinny. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've just been hammering my shoulders like twice a week now. But just really focusing on like the form. Like I don't even do anything really that heavy, just like really focusing on time under tension, like pumping the brakes on the way down. And that's really like the what happened. Plus, like I'm really lean right now, so they look like big. But if I
Yeah,
wasn't this
your
lean,
shoulders look huge. That's the
they
fourth time
wouldn't
I've
look
said
as
it.
crazy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
No,
It's kind
it's
of like why I wore this shirt.
so it's, I mean, I think that you make an interesting point there, right? You're talking about time under tension, you're talking about slow negatives. For someone that's trying to hit hypertrophy, that absolutely makes sense, right? The way that you're lifting needs to be different than the way that someone's Olympic weightlifting, because Olympic
Mm-hmm.
weightlifting, you're trying to not get big intentionally because it's based on
Mm-hmm.
weight class and you staying as light as you can, moving the
Yeah.
most weight that you can. So like, I think that people maybe get it twisted. Someone looks at Tom Platz or looks at C-Bomb or looks at anyone that is notable, right? Or has been, it's like
Mm-hmm.
notable to general pop, right? Not notable to NPC or IFBB, but notable to Gen Pop. And they're like, well, look, everyone should train like that, or no one should train like that unless you're trying to do that. And I think it's very interesting to hear you talk about things that legitimately would make you larger in areas that you're trying to grow, where like someone that's trying to
Mm-hmm.
do gymnastics or CrossFit probably doesn't need to do the same thing with as much volume, right? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
sometimes for sure, but is not trying to look like a muscle mommy, right? Is trying to
Yeah.
get above a bar and do bar muscle ups weighted. Like it's a different
Just
kind of plan
different
there.
different kind of training. Yeah, there are like so many different kinds of training. Like, and I'm not even really familiar with like really any of them, other
Mhm.
than like bodybuilding, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense because you're literally in that world. Do you take that same kind of I don't know if you're doing push pull, if you're doing I don't know what kind of split you're on right now, but do you take the same bodybuilding principles and apply that to all your lifestyle clients?
Um, basically, like not as intense. It just
Mhm.
depends too on the person. Like, because I'll always ask them like, how many days like can you realistically get in the gym?
Mhm.
So then we'll build their plan that way. What equipment do you have at your gym? How long do you have at the gym? Like, so it just like depends. If it's like a 4 day person, like,
Mhm.
we'll do like an upper, a lower, an upper, a lower, or, just break it up, just depending on the person too, like, and where they want. Like, because some girls like just want a big butt. Some girls
Yeah.
don't care about like their arms and stuff. They'll just do like one upper and person and like what they're trying to do, like what their body looks like too. But
Yeah.
yeah, my split, I would never give my split to a lifestyle client. Because like my split, I'll tell you what it is. So I train 6 days a week and
Mhm.
I do cardio 6 days a week. So I'll do glutes, then I'll do shoulders, then I'll do hamstrings, then I'll rest, which is today, Wednesday. Then I'll do glutes and quads, then I'll do shoulders, then I'll do back. So I have 2 shoulder days, 3 leg days, and then my back day. But I train like I'll do like 6 movements, like 4 sets. Like I push it. Like I wouldn't make like a lifestyle person like do what I do. Like
It's
you
a
don't
hell
need
of a
to
lot
do
of
all
volume.
that.
Yeah.
It's very high volume. I remember when my coach gave me because he just gives me like he doesn't make the workouts. He'll just give me like the muscle and then how many he wants me to do,
Mhm.
how many sets or whatever, and exercises. And I first got it and I'm like, 7 hamstring exercises? Are you nuts? But like my hamstrings look crazy now. My
Mhm.
glutes look crazy now. So it just depends on the goal. But for me, it's worked. But it's so different, like just for like a regular person who wants to look good. And then like a bikini competitor who needs like this specific structure. Like, and then for me now, my problem is like I have too much quad in my back pose. So I have to like
Really?
I have to hide my quads. I'm like, how do you hide a quad? Like, so it's like it's just like bikini. You have to kind of adjust your body for the division. So yeah, it's just it's just like a lot. But for a lifestyle, like absolutely not. I would not put someone on a 6-day program, make them do cardio 6 days a week. Like,
Yeah, and when you say cardio, for those that are uninitiated that have no idea what bodybuilding cardio usually looks like, can you walk me through what, like, just conceptually what you mean when you say cardio?
yes. Did you get that too?
Nope, I turned my
That
phone
alert?
off because I knew it was
Oh,
coming. Yeah.
I actually I saw it, but I was driving and I was like, I gotta do that. But that's so weird. I just got like the willies. Okay, so cardio. So the way I do it with my clients and the way my coach does it too is he'll give me
Mhm.
a calorie goal. So my calorie goal right now
Like
is 800. It's 800 calories. So I need to
consumption?
burn.
Or are you
I
talking
need to
about
no to burn like during my cardio session. Like, so with my lifestyle, I'll do like 200, like 300, 400, just depending on their goals. But my goal right now is 800. So every time I get on the treadmill, I have to burn 800 calories. So I actually have a heart monitor that I'll wear on my chest and I'll have it like track my calories. So I'll do like an incline walk for like an hour and then I'll walk my dog around the block a few times to get to 800. So it takes me like an hour, 15 minutes. But yeah, heart rate like 135, and I'll just watch it like on there's an app with like the monitor I have, and like
is it
it's
a
pretty
My Zone?
cool. It's the Polar. Polar is
Yeah,
the
it's Polar
brand.
My Zone. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
I used to have one of those and I used to wear it in CrossFit. And so it'll give you the zone, it'll give you it colored, the number,
Yeah.
and how long you've been
Yes.
in each
And
one. And
I'm
the
such
MEPS points. Yeah.
yes, I'm so visual. Like
Mm.
I just love seeing I just love seeing my heart rate like in the green. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Gray,
I
blue,
can't.
yellow,
And
green,
there
red.
have been times, yeah, yeah, right. There have been times where I'll like my heart monitor like died or won't connect, and I'm like, I can't do my cardio. Like,
Mhm.
I need to wear it. Like it's just like this thing that I do. But it's funny because I'll always start with like 50 jumping jacks before I start my cardio to get my heart rate like up really high, and then I'll do like an incline walk. I'll do like incline like 10 or 12 and then I'll just do speed like 2.5, sometimes 2.0. I can keep my heart rate up. It just depends like on the day. But yeah, I'll just do like incline walk and like watch podcasts and yeah, like an hour every day. But honestly, it's just like my routine. It feels so good.
Mhm.
I love doing it, you know? So it's
Yeah.
not bad. Everyone thinks it's crazy. They're like 800 calories. I'm like, it's not that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it also is one of those things that it's part of the process for where you're trying to go, right? So you know that
Mhm.
if you consistently hit this every single day at zone 2, right? So that you're not taking more recovery, you don't need more recovery because you're doing it,
Mhm.
but you do it every single day. 6 months of compound interest on that for you is going to be massive for your physique on stage. Where like
Mhm.
someone that's regular, that's not trying to compete, that doesn't want to do that, just needs to hit
Yeah.
it maybe a step goal and be done with it, right? But it sounds like you're kind
Mhm.
of combining not only steps with also heart rate training, a specific zone, so that you get the biggest output without having to have extra supplementation, extra recovery, extra food. Because the last
Mhm.
thing, and I'm sure that you probably see this with clients, with me when I'm having clients get their steps in or get active recovery in, I don't need you to get so much active recovery in that you then want to eat again, because that defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do. If you put more
Yeah.
food in you, then we're fighting an uphill battle there.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you find the same
Yeah.
kind of thing in prep as I do with clients, but that is a massive problem when people are like, "Well, I'm just going to go play soccer for 3 hours." You're like, "But
No.
you want a fat ass and you want to be a certain body fat percentage. Like running that
Yeah.
much, you're going to eat too much, dog."
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like the output, it just makes such a difference. I feel like people don't do things consistently enough to like really understand like the concept of it too, you know?
Yeah, for sure. How long do you think that you're going to keep up the 6 days a week? of lifting and the 7 days a week of cardio and this competition train?
So cardio is only 6 days too. I have a full rest
Six
day
and
on
six.
Wednesdays.
Okay.
But yeah, it's 6 and 6. So I'll probably still train 6 days a week and do cardio 6 days a week, like post show, but obviously like it's gonna be like much less cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be eating more, like reversing out after. Because I'm doing my show, I'm doing the Midwest Gladiator, which is in November. And then I'm doing Nationals in Texas, which is December 7th.
Damn, you got shows almost back
So
to back.
yeah, so I'm doing after if I get my pro card at Nationals, I don't know if I'll jump into a pro show or if I'll just reverse out and maybe compete again like next year. But I'm working with my coach until November of next year. Like I already paid for the entire year. And then after November, I'm gonna like go back to being like regular, I guess. Just do some like traveling and stuff with my boyfriend. And then eventually, we'll like have kids and stuff. But I'm like, this is like my time to do what I
Yeah.
want. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. As far as, you bring up your boyfriend, and that was going to be something I was going to ask about. How supportive is Johnny of everything?
Oh my God, he is so supportive. It's so awesome. Like, because I feel like in the past, I've like dated guys who weren't supportive and I kind of like held back. Like I knew in my heart I wanted to like compete again, but I know like, it's a lot. It's hard to be in a relationship when you're competing. Like you have to, it's a really selfish sport. Like you've got to eat your 6 meals, you've got to do your cardio, you have to sleep. Like, it's like everything is so like regimented and it's hard to be with someone that's prepping, when their calories are low and they're tired, like, it's hard. But he's so supportive. Like, we have like a whole home gym. Like we got a home gym. He's like, well, this is good because now you can do your cardio at home, and it's like he's just like he'll come to my posing sessions with me. He's always like just like hyping me up. Like we'll train together too. Like he's so supportive. And it's actually cool. Like he's actually started like dieting too. Not as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to be like a big drinker. He would drink a lot. And now he's like really cut down on drinking and he just like sees like how good you can feel when you like eat right and work out. And he's like his body's changing, like he's getting bigger and he's like, he's like on a little journey too. So it's really fun like doing it together. But yeah, he's so supportive, which is amazing. Like it's really important to have a supportive partner with this. Otherwise, you can't have a boyfriend. Like you gotta just be solo.
Yeah. Do you think that he'll be in a position where he tries to compete or he tries to push some physique goals at any point?
No, I mean physique goals, yes. He
Mm-hmm.
definitely like always wants to like put muscle on and
Mm-hmm.
look good. But competing, no. He enjoys like life too much to like
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice like what you have to sacrifice. Like he's very like outgoing and like
Mm-hmm.
he's got like a huge group of friends like where like they like to go out and like hang out. He plays hockey a few times a week and they'll have some beers and stuff. Like he's not gonna like not have beers at hockey. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just like he loves it. It makes him
Yeah.
happy. So, he does his thing and I do mine. And it's like it just works.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So let's say, hey, y'all have a budding relationship. You're staying together. He's still super supportive. If you could have it your way on the competition floor, right? From this first show to the second nationals, what would you want that to look like? The next two shows into you get a pro card, and then what happens? Like best case scenario for you.
Well, obviously, like best case scenario, I go into my regional show and I win the whole show and then go to nationals, get my card. And then from there, I mean, I would obviously see what my coach says, like, because I know, like, even if I do get my card, like, I struggle with posing. Like it's really hard for me to pose. Like my coach, the way he has me pose is so different than like how I've posed in the past, and it just doesn't look natural. Like I practice every day, and I'm like, I just like, why does it look like this? Like, but know if I'm necessarily ready to do a pro show with like my presentation. Like the walk, like you gotta like walk to the back and like not let your butt jiggle. And like I can barely walk in a straight line. But I mean, if he said like let's do a pro show, I would for sure do a pro show, you know? Might as well, came this far. But for me, like the most important thing is to reverse out properly because my last season I did not reverse out properly and I gained a lot of weight. So anybody who wants to compete, follow your reverse diet because you will gain like 50 pounds in a month if you don't. That's what happened to me. And it was horrible. Like I was having like panic attacks, like anxiety, like my hair was falling out because I basically went from like crazy diet and cardio to just like I did really bad at my national show in November. I did so bad. My posing was bad. I was so skinny. Like it was like my worst look ever. After I just started eating, I just started eating and eating and eating and eating, and I gained 50 pounds. And then it was COVID. But yeah, then I got back into it like mid-COVID. But yeah.
Yeah, when you didn't reverse out properly, I mean, on the prep, were your hormones pretty jacked? And then coming out of it, were they pretty jacked too?
Yeah. I mean, if you prep, you mess up your hormones. Like as females, like we are not supposed to be this lean.
Correct.
We are created to create. Like we are supposed to we are like made to have babies. Like we're not supposed to like be shredded, you know? Like so yeah, anybody who preps, you're gonna mess up your hormones. But it's okay as long as you reverse out and you get them in a healthy spot after. It's fine. You can fix them. It's just a matter of like doing it the right way, which I did not do first time around.
Do you think that the risk is worth it to continue to compete longer term? Like as it pertains to potential fertility, as it pertains to
I
period, as it pertains to all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I know like after November, like I'm gonna be done. Like I knew in my heart I wanted to do it, like give it one more shot. So like here I am giving it a shot. But I know like after next November, like I'm done. I'm retiring. Like whether I'm a pro, whether I'm not a pro,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm done. You know, I want to like, start my life.
Mm-hmm.
But some girls love it, like, and want to do it forever. Um, is it worth it? I
For
don't
you, not,
know.
I mean, you can't answer for everyone, but for you.
Yeah, I mean, I like if I were to do it like longer, like let's say like I was like doing this like intense for like 3 years and then I wasn't able to like have kids, like no, it's not worth it. Are you serious? Like I feel like I know I want to be a mom. Like in my heart, like I've known my whole life, like I want to be a mom so bad. I'm like, if I couldn't be a mom because of this, I don't know. I don't think that would be worth it, but hopefully that's not the case and we'll just fix my hormones. I'm gonna be good.
So the goal is crush the next two shows, crush whatever next year looks like with your coach, and then probably you're going to give it your whole ass, and then probably hang it up after next year. Hang it up after
Yeah.
next year and keep pushing into the new chapter of life.
Yep. Yep. Then it's time to have babies.
Yeah. Do you see yourself continuing to coach lifestyle clients though through all this?
Yeah, for sure. I like my thing is just like you don't like it doesn't have to take over your life. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
still have a life and like live a healthy lifestyle and like look really good and feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all or nothing. And I feel like I learned that like the hard way. Like when I prepped in 2019, like it was basically all or nothing. And my thing is just like to teach people that it's not all or nothing. Like you can have both. Like obviously, like you have to be disciplined, but you don't have to like not live your life. You could still
Mm-hmm.
look really good and feel really good and have a plan and go out on the weekends and do like what makes you happy. Like everyone has like their things that make them so happy. Like I had one client who like she loved like having a glass of wine. Like so she would have her wine every night, her glass of wine. And she still made progress. She just did her workouts and followed her diet. Like it was like that important to her. She loved her wine. I'm like, what a waste of calories. But if you love your wine, like it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's obviously lifestyle. Like that would never fly with competing. Like,
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. I mean, on the competition floor, I know that on the pro side, right? very few people are natty, period, end of story, right? What does it look like
Yeah.
on the amateur side?
Um, I feel like it's like half and half. Um, at the regional level, like you don't really have to be like as conditioned to do good. Like you could win a show with still some body fat. Whereas like at the national level, the pro level, like to achieve that conditioning, like be that full and like bubbly, but like lean enough,
Mm-hmm.
I would say like 95% of girls are taking something like maybe some T3 clen, like some sort of SARM, maybe like an Anavar, like it's just like fact, it's just the reality. People, and if someone's natural, you will know because they'll be like natural athlete. Like
Mm-hmm.
you ever see those people? And then it's like everyone else is just like, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that came on the podcast, and I also have done some work with for his clients, like on some graphic design stuff a few years ago. His
Mm-hmm.
name's Sam Okunala, super cool guy, sponsored by BPN, Bare
Mm-hmm.
Performance Nutrition, and he's natty. But he talked to me about on the podcast about him going to a show, natty, to a show where most people were not natty,
Mm-hmm.
and he got destroyed. He got destroyed.
Yeah,
Like
you just can't.
he's won multiple natty bodybuilding shows, and then
Yeah.
just not it when you get on the stage with people that are taking a concoction of all kinds of things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with like bodybuilding, like even like my brother, like he does men's physique and he also
Mm-hmm.
does bodybuilding. Like
Mm-hmm.
he knows, like unless he wants to like push some gear, like he's not gonna be able to like
Mm-hmm.
beat these guys.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's also just it's like, I mean, if you do it, just make sure you do it safe. You have a coach who like guides you through it. You do your research, you come off properly, like you can do it safely.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be stupid about it. Like more is not better. People think more is better, and it's like, no, more is not better. Like I always say, like, go as far as you can naturally, and then if you need to add in, at the end of your prep, like a T3 or a clen or like a Novodax, something like that, to like get the last bit of fat off. As a female, you'll probably have to. You want to do well at nationals, like unless you're a genetic freak, which is like 0.5% of the world,
Mm-hmm.
like you're gonna probably need like a little bit of help getting that last bit of fat off.
Yeah. Do you see yourself in the show this? Oh, and she's gone. What
My
happened?
bad. I think like this one headphone keeps falling out, and I
If
think
you
when you
double
push
tap
on
it,
it,
it goes off.
it hangs it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I think that's what I did. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I
All
don't know.
good.
This one's fine, but this one keeps falling out. It's like super annoying. My bad. Where were we?
All good. All I was going to ask you was with people like on tons of things trying to lean down close to the end of the stage, do you see yourself being in a position where you will in the short run or the long run start to use PEDs to get show ready?
I mean, if I do decide to jump on some for nationals, like obviously I'm gonna do it safely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I don't want any like crazy side effects, like
Mm-hmm.
deep voice and
There's a lot
just
of
start
things that
with
can
like
come with crazy doses.
yeah, so just like doing it safely. But I mean naturally it's like see how far you can get before, deciding to like jump on like anything like that.
Yeah. That seems to be a consistent thing from people that don't want to just see people just abuse themselves by injecting everything. Like that's pretty common recommendation, especially from a lot of people that have done a lot previously, like a lot of former bodybuilders that are like, hey, you should absolutely not just take extra for the sake of taking extra. You should
Yeah,
not put yourself in that
exactly.
position, right? How
Yeah.
many people are having heart attacks and other stuff happening that have 14 concoctions inside of them?
Yeah,
It's
you gotta be careful.
Yeah, definitely do. So I want to kind of pivot, and I want to respect your time. We're getting close to here wrapped up, but a little gray area between natty and not, right, is peptides, right? And everyone's talking
Hmm.
about them: BPC 157, TB 500,
Hmm.
sermorelin, et cetera, semaglutide, right? For various reasons, people are using XYZ. And I've got no moral judgment against anyone using any of that stuff, because I know a lot of people, even not in competition, are like homies of mine are like, yeah, I'm taking TB,
Yeah, my boyfriend just
stuff.
got prescribed how do you say it? Sermorelin. Right, say it
Sermorelin.
again. Sermorelin. Yeah, he's been taking it and he feels so good. He sleeps so good. His recovery is good. It's not necessarily like people like it's not like it's like a dangerous thing if you just do it properly. Like I feel like anything is fine as long as you do it properly.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah.
there's a lot of things that I would be careful about how much dosage you use on the kind of stuff. But really the only direction I was trying to go with this with you specifically is just your thoughts on peptides, on this kind of gray area for people lifestyle, for people in on prep, for people trying to compete and stuff. Like what are your thoughts on all of it?
I don't know. I mean, I have no problem with like peptides. As like a regular person, you don't need to be taking like Clen or like, tamoxifen to get lean. Like you're a regular person. You don't need to be that lean for anything. But in terms of like a competitor, like, you know, as long as you do it properly, I think it's fine. Just
Yeah,
do it properly.
as long as
Yeah.
you're not hurting anybody else, it is your body, make the
Yeah.
decision.
And just the more important part is like coming off and you reverse diet.
Yeah.
Because when your body is that lean, you are in like a very vulnerable place, especially if you're taking like any SARMs or anything like that. You have to make sure you come off of them properly and restore your hormones, like add your food back in slow, gain weight back slow. Because, if you don't, it's like, think about it like this. It's like you just like buy a perfect, like brand new, like 2023 Ferrari, this like awesome car. And then you literally, I don't want to hang up again. You literally just like drive it into a wall. Like that's what you're doing. You're smashing your Ferrari. Like, don't do that. You worked so hard for this. Like, so it's just a matter of doing it right. That's all I have to say about it. Like, it's okay. Girls that do SARMs and compete, like they're still very feminine, and it's just a matter of doing it right. And if somebody's doing it not correctly, like you'll hear their voice changing. You'll see them like kind of turning into a dude. So it's just a matter of like being smart about it if you do decide to do it.
Yeah. What about for those people though that look to a coach to make solid recommendations? And you spoke earlier about a coach that gave you some recommendations that maybe weren't the best things in the world, like how does someone that's new, that doesn't know the difference between SARMs and test and clenbuterol, and like doesn't even know what these things are, much less who to trust on this, like what would be a recommendation from you as a competitor yourself on how newbies can make sure that they don't take the wrong advice?
I would say do your own research, like do your own research, and also, just ask people you can trust. If you have somebody who's like dabbled in like that kind of stuff, like ask them. But ultimately, like know the risks. Like taking anything like non-natural, there's risks. I mean, taking anything, there's risks. There's risks to taking Tylenol. But just like it's just like knowing the risks, and don't just do it because like your coach says to do it. Like you feel like you have to. Like if you do decide to do it, just do it because it's something that you want to do. You're comfortable doing it. Like don't feel pressured. But do your research. There's if you look up side effects of, let's say, like, I don't know, let's say like Anavar. Like you look up Anavar and it's like, there's potential side effects. If you take too much, like your voice can change. Like your click can get like all fucked up.
Pretty large. Yeah, pretty large and looking like a micro penis for sure.
Yeah. So it's just like, just being careful, looking up like the risks, like knowing like if it's something you want to like put yourself through, if it's actually like worth it for you. But yeah, I would just say do your research.
Yeah. No, that's facts. And I think that that's kind of the same thing with anything, right? Even a lifestyle coach, you might want to do your research on that coach. You might want to see what they've done, what they haven't done, what they specialize in, who they can actually help, and to what degree can they help them, right? Because if someone's trying to promise you that natural, you're going to lose 20 pounds of fat in the first 4 weeks, and you're going to gain 10 pounds of muscle, they're a liar.
Yeah.
They're a liar.
Yeah. It's a marketing scheme. Yeah, you'll see that all the time.
They're straight lying.
Like, I hope you lose 10 pounds, like giving up your favorite foods in 4 weeks. Like, you sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more nuanced. There's definitely clickbaity titles, and I am
Mhm.
absolutely guilty of using clickbaity titles on purpose,
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, you have
On
to
social. At the end
in
of the
this
day,
industry.
yeah. At the end of the day, it's something I'm willing to look everyone back in the face and say 100% will title things to get your attention. If you listen to the
Mm-hmm.
message, though, I'm not going to sit here and promote things that are impossible. Like, can you lose 20
Mm-hmm.
pounds in a month? You absolutely can. Can you take 20 pounds of fat off and gain 10 pounds of muscle naturally in 4 weeks? No, the fuck you cannot, unless you're a genetic
Mm-hmm.
freak, which is what percentage? Less than 5% of the whole world
I know.
period.
I'm like, I made that up, but it's like
Yeah.
it's got it. It's low. Like that percentage is so low.
I think
Like
it's probably even lower
that's
than 5%, honestly, my
yeah.
friend.
And that's the thing too. Like one of my friends, she has put on like a lot of weight.
Mhm.
Um, and she was like asking me like just for help, like advice, just like I want to lose weight, like what should I do? Like what should I eat and stuff. And she's been like eating healthy now and like working out for like maybe like 3.5, 4 weeks. And she called me. She's like, I'm like still fat. I'm like, okay, well, how long did it take you to gain all that weight? Like a year? You think you're just gonna lose it in 21 days? You think you could just like melt it off in 20? Like it took you, an entire year to gain, I don't even know how much weight. Like let's say it's like 25 pounds. Like
Mhm.
you're not going to lose it in a month, and if you do lose it in a month, your body's going to think it's starving. And the second you eat anything, it's going to hold on to every particle of fat that's going to try to protect you. So it's just like being like doing it sustainably is like so important. Like that's just like what I preach to like with my clients. Like, I want you to eat foods that you like. I want you to, enjoy your workouts and,
Mhm.
still have a life. I don't want you to think you can't live your life because you want to get in good shape. You could do both. But it's also like it's going to be like slower progress, like maybe like a half pound to a pound a week, or maybe not even like any drops. You'll see people that are like, you'll see those pictures. It's like 150 and it's like a thicker girl, and it's like 150 and it's like a muscular girl. It's like
Mhm.
same weight, both pictures. Like the scale, like you can't let the scale like really dictate like, you know, your progress. Like even my boyfriend, like he's been eating like really high protein. Like I make all of his food and like I keep his protein pretty high, his carbs and fats pretty moderate. And he like hasn't really come down, but he looks so much better. And it's like
Mhm.
I'm like, well, you're getting more muscle. Like he's like getting so full, and like he's like more he even like he was like up a pound. He's like, I gained weight. It's not working. I'm like, no, it is. Like you look so good. Like just don't look at the scale. You gotta look at the pictures. Like, and you gotta do it for more than 4 weeks. You think you're gonna change in 4 weeks. I've been doing this since May 16th. It's literally October,
Yeah.
like
For one show, right? We're talking about just one show you've trained over 6 months for. Like
yeah,
it's
because
not a tomorrow thing.
yeah, another thing too is like, if you want to be a successful competitor, you got to have like your off seasons and stuff, which I didn't have. I stopped competing and I ate whatever I wanted and like,
Mhm.
if I wanted to drink, I would go drink and like, um but I I recently like before I got a coach, I started like cleaning it up. I'm like I want to like look like I didn't look bad. Like I didn't look bad at all, but I just knew I could be so much better. Like
Mhm.
I was kind of getting like acne from like eating bad. Like I would go out to eat a lot and like just like buy bullshit from the store, just like eat it, like eat like ice cream, like, just like just be a little fatty, and I'm like, I want to feel good. I didn't feel good. Like, so I started cleaning it up, but I never, I didn't have an off season. Like
Mhm.
I had a lot of weight to lose, like for my show. Like when I started with my coach, I was like 167 pounds and I'm like 140 pounds now. And
Holy shit.
I'll probably still come down like 4 or 5 pounds before the show. But it's also like, I don't recommend you do what I did,
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I actually I hired my coach and I was like, I want to do a show and it was in September. And he's like, no. He's like, can we do November instead? I'm like, I guess. He's like, it's not enough time. I'm like, May to September, that's enough time. No, it wasn't enough time, you know?
Mhm.
So It's just like, but think, like I said, how long did it take me to gain all that weight? 4 years. I'm not even saying that I was like overweight. Like I still looked like athletic. I just wasn't lean.
Yeah. You're just not to
But
the level of body fat percentage
it,
that you want to be or that you have to be on stage.
it takes time. It takes time and consistency. Like you can't just like follow your diet for like 3 days, then fuck around 2 days, and then think in a month you're gonna look different. You're gonna look the same.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's super funny to me. You mentioned, so like let's say someone takes off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they just do whatever the fuck, right? So let's say they do whatever the fuck. So that's 4 out of 7 days. That means that only 57% of the time, 57.14, you're paying attention. 57 if you take off the
Yeah.
weekends. That is not a lot of time in the week. That is
Yeah.
not a lot of percentage in the week for you to actually progress if you're only going
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday.
And that's the thing, like, that's why I always preach like you don't have to be so extreme. You can develop healthier habits and
Mm-hmm.
you can make progress
Mm-hmm.
without like giving up like everything, and
Facts.
people
Yeah.
just don't understand that. They think I have to be disciplined. Then it's Friday, like let's happy hour, let's go eat and blah blah, let's go drink. And I'm like, it's like reversing everything you just fucking worked so hard for.
Yeah. I don't know if you find the same thing with your clients, but a lot of times when people are way too restrictive during the week, they're like, I'm going to eat chicken, broccoli, no seasoning, no marinade, just straight pulled chicken, and that's it, no
Yeah.
flavoring. They end up binging more, right? Because you're so restrictive that you're like, well, when I
Yeah.
touch it, I'm going to have 15 because I'm walking around hungry and irritable and don't sleep well and what have you. And I mean, for me, maybe the same for you, for your clients. How about you just be a little bit more compliant, more consistently across every day, but have the
Yeah.
donut if you want to have the donut on occasion. Have the the
Hmm.
extra, have the one drink instead of
Yeah.
15 on the nights that you do
Yeah.
drink.
I feel like it's just like a personal choice and like a standard. Like I think it's like, okay, the reason you don't have the body you want is
Mhm.
because you haven't put in the work to like have that body. The reason you don't have that bank account you want is because you haven't been fucking grinding. It's like that's just reality. Like you have to like kind of like have respect for yourself. Like, do I
Mhm.
care about this goal enough to like sacrifice like XYZ? And it's
Yeah.
like most people don't.
Yeah.
I can't make you care. I could tell you what to do and give you the plan, but I can't make you care. I can't make you do it. Like
Facts.
that's like, you're paying someone to help you and you're not doing what they say. It's like, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah. There's only so much that you can do. Well, I want to respect your time. I really appreciate you making the time for this. Thanks for hopping back on after you accidentally
Oh my gosh, of
signed
course.
off
Sorry
too.
about
I was like, oh
that.
my Lord, where'd she go? But where can the people find you if they want to get connected with you for coaching? Someone that wants to start competing, wants to reach out to you and chat. Anyone just love the story and wants to follow you. Where can people find you? What's easiest to get in contact with you?
Definitely Instagram. Follow my Instagram and either DM me or maybe like comment on one of my pictures, like, hey,
Mhm.
I DM you, because like
Mhm.
stuff gets in the hidden DMs and it just like disappears and I don't even
Yeah.
see it for like weeks. So yeah, Anna Maria _ X is my Instagram. That's probably the best way to get in contact with me.
Okay. And that's ANNAMARIA _ X.
Yes.
Heck yeah. Well, I really appreciate you being here. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to stop the recording and we're out of here. Thank everybody for listening and we'll see you
No.
next time.
Bye guys.